Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Praxis Speech Sister show. This is where I help you master your mindset and to earn a passing score on the SLP Praxis exam. I am your host, Melanie Evans. I am a certified speech language pathologist and certified abundance soul purpose coach. And I am just so excited to talk about our topic today because I've been talking to the girls and we've been really talking a lot about imposter syndrome. And one thing that I've noticed is imposter syndrome. You might be in graduate school or in your clinical fellowship specifically. Now, if you are in your clinical fellowship, you're watching this and you struggle with imposter syndrome, know that you are not alone. And a lot of times, you could be a certified speech language pathologist and still battle imposter syndrome. So, these are some tips and strategies that I will give you today that you can walk away with, not only in your praxis journey, but also in your professional journey as a speech language pathologist. So, let's go. Let's get into today's episode. Now, I do just have some definitions of imposter syndrome because I feel that imposter syndrome is a term that's just kind of thrown around. And I know specifically I started mentioning imposter syndrome, and my father, who's a baby boomer, is like, what's that? What's imposter syndrome? And so it's definitely kind of like a new age term. So I went ahead and went on the American Psychological Association website and looked up imposter syndrome. Now, with the definition that I got on APA, and I will go ahead, when I repost this episode, I will go ahead and put that link in the show notes. I'm really shocked that imposter syndrome is a legitimate psychological disorder. And so I actually think that we are using the term wrong. I believe that we should be using the term more so imposter phenomenon. So, imposter syndrome, according to the American Psychological Association, is a personality pattern characterized by pathological lying, which takes the form of fabricating an identity or a series of identities in an effort to gain recognition and status. So, I don't think we should say that we have imposter syndrome anymore, to be honest, because unless you really do have imposter syndrome to where you are actually lying pathologically, and you are actually faking an identity, because that is intentional when you're doing that. Imposter phenomenon is the situation in which highly accomplished, successful individuals paradoxically believe they are frauds who ultimately will fail and be unmasked as incompetent. I think that that's more so where we are heading, not heading towards, but what we mean when we say that we have imposter syndrome. I think it's more so that we are experiencing the imposter phenomenon. So, for you all who are studying the SLP Praxis exam, and especially as you are about to cross over into another level of your life journey as speech pathologists, as clinical fellowship, as clinical fellows, you might be saying, yes, I've been getting through graduate school. And yes, now I'm at a point in my graduate school career where I'm able to take the exam. Or yes, I'm at the point in my speech pathology career where I'm ready to take the praxis exam. And to be honest with you, I don't know how I even graduated. I don't know how I've passed all of these exams. I've had clients who's like, I I honestly just kind of they said that they skated through grad school. I don't believe that's true. I think that certain things probably came easy to them. And then when it came time for the big event, such as the actual certification exam, then that's when those doubts start kicking in. So if that is you, first of all, I really do. I'm going to be offering some other tips in this episode, but I do encourage you to check out previous episodes where I've talked about self talk and speaking to yourself as you would your best friend. Because one thing that I also like to tell my coaching clients and people who come to me is you know this stuff. You've been studying speech language pathology for how long, especially if you've been studying it since undergrad as a major. Speech pathology was my minor. So that, if that was your major and then you went to graduate school and so you've been doing the thing, then you really do know this stuff. You really are not an imposter. You've been walking in the identity of who you really are. So I want to give you 3 tips to combat imposter syndrome and achieve praxis success. I went ahead and wrote some notes to keep me on track today. I don't want to keep you here all evening. So the first one is to reframe your achievements. Reframe your achievements. So what I mean by that is think about your accomplishments. As someone myself who experiences the imposter phenomenon a lot, I mean, even showing up here, showing up, doing this live with you all, or wherever you're listening to, doing this live with you all, I get really nervous, actually. Actually, I get really nervous. And then when I log on, I'm like, okay, let's go. But that's because I've done it before and I can do it again and again and again. But that doesn't mean that I don't have those nerves and anxieties and anxious feelings like, who am I to do this? And so I want you to create a list of 5, and this is just 5 achievements that you've accomplished since starting your journey as a speech language pathologist. So, number 1, I mean, I'll already give you some right off the bat. Number 1, getting into graduate school. You succeeded at that. Number 2, getting B's and above in certain classes because you need a B to keep going. Right? That's amazing. Congratulations. Not everybody can do that. Not everyone can say that they've done that. So I already gave you 2. Think of 3 more. Bonus points if you can think of 7 total. Amazing. Some other ideas that you can come up with, honestly, with reframing your achievements, research projects, research presentations that you've done, mentors. If you've noticed that mentors are naturally gravitating towards you and they are complimenting you, take those compliments in and truly receive them. Truly receive the people in your network who have been uplifting you. I might be getting ahead of myself. The second one is focus on learning. So, the reason why I made that sound is because I struggle with this myself. Okay, so I'm just telling you things that help me, but it's still a work in progress. And if you can start doing this now and making a habit out of doing this now, then you will be good to go later down the road. Like imagine yourself 5 years down the road into this field. And if you can understand how to focus on your learning, then no one's going to be able to tell you anything. Because especially if you are a clinical fellow, and if you are studying for the Praxis exam, wherever you are on your journey, and if you're feeling like an imposter, just focus on where you are. Meet yourself where you are and own it. So maybe that means that you aren't um, familiar with the cranial nerves, and you've graduated grad school already, and you're still not familiar with the cranial nerves. That can definitely trigger imposter syndrome. But let's reframe that. So rather than saying, oh, I'm an imposter, I don't even know how I graduated, I don't remember the cranial nerves, say, wow, I've really understood all of this up until this point. And now I have an amazing opportunity to strengthen my knowledge on the cranial nerves. Or I have an amazing opportunity to strengthen my knowledge on neuro-based communicative disorders. Or I have a amazing opportunity to strengthen my knowledge on the specific strategies that I will need to use for fluency, for example. So these are all really great reframes that can keep you going on your journey. If you focus on the learning piece and show yourself that grace and really embody that grace in your body, like trying not to be too heady about it, but really be in your body and say, hey, I'm here to learn. That can really change your attitude, especially when you're approaching each study session. So don't think that you have to know it. That's the point of studying. You wouldn't be expected to study for the SLP Praxis exam if you were expected to know everything, right? And even years down the road, you're not going to know everything. And that's why I recommend keeping the Roseberry McKibben book. That was just a side note. The final thing I want to say about tackling imposter syndrome is finding your community. So finding a community of like-minded speechies who are also on the same journey as you. So maybe they haven't taken the SLP Praxis exam yet. Y'all can definitely study together. Y'all can talk through any mindset difficulties y'all are having together. And then also, maybe you do have someone who's already passed the SLP Praxis exam. Have someone who will pour into you and seeing to your beautiful subconscious mind that you are worthy and capable of passing this exam. All right. So before we go, I actually do want to leave you with, let's see here. I want to leave you with some imposter syndrome. One sec, I got to pull it up. Ebook. There we go. Okay, so this just came to my mind, so I got to pull it up for y'all. But I really want to leave you all with some imposter syndrome affirmations that you all can take with you on this journey. Write them down, sing them to yourself. Close your eyes as you're hearing me say it, wherever you're listening to this, and really allow this to imprint into where you are now. Okay. Comparison is another thing that I didn't mention today. I will say this, comparison is another thing that I did not get to mention today that can cause imposter syndrome. Just simply do not compare yourself. And I'll be doing some more strategies in the future, in future episodes. All right, so here are some affirmations to release imposter syndrome. I'm going to give you 5 of my favorite ones. Affirm, I am on the path of continuous learning and growth. Every experience, positive or challenging, contributes to my development as a speech pathology professional. I embrace the learning curve and I trust in my ability to adapt and improve. I am not expected to know everything. It's okay to seek guidance and ask questions. Mistakes are opportunities for learning and refinement, not a reflection of my worth or competence. So, you all, I hope that that helped you today. I hope that today's episode gave you all some peace of mind. I would like to leave you with this as well. I do have a free mindset prep mini course, and I also offer some study strategies at the end that can help you reframe any limiting beliefs and help you really embody the identity and the habits that will make your success inevitable. And I will go ahead and put that freebie in the show notes for you all. So thank you all for joining me tonight. Thank you those for watching the replay, and I will see you next week.